Good afternoon, Justice Warriors. Wow. Are you guys ready to have your minds blown? Um, I'm kind of like midstream getting my mind blown, and I just need to take a break and talk to my people, okay? It's a little much. Like, I could just get caught up on other people's content for the rest of the day and probably still not be caught up. So, I wanted to talk to you guys like I told you I would. I told you I'd be back at 1 and I'm already half an hour late. So, thanks for joining me. If you are here and you want to say something in the chat, then I'll know that the sound's working and all that great stuff. Um so talking about the Kylie Rodney case, I'm really glad that I got back to the straight and narrow on the Kylie Rodney case as much as I could this morning, because I'm quickly getting veered off into the Trinity Bacchus case. Hey, blonde gypsy and pixie knickers. So, yeah, not really getting sidetracked into the Trinity Bacchus case. It actually looks like these two cases are more connected than any of us could have imagined. I don't know all the details yet. Um, I'm going to guess that T Rev, who changed his channel name to True Crimes and Rhymes, that's T Rev 757. He just did a 5-hour live, and I'm going to try to get caught up on it because I came in at the very tail end and was sort of like, wait a second, have you heard about Sunshine Fowler being at Kylie Rodney's service, her celebration of life? And for those of you that don't know, Sunshine Fowler is Frances Fowler's mother, not sister. And Frances Fowler was the boyfriend of Trinity Bacchus. So the redhead in Nevada City who died, her boyfriend at the time of death, his mom was at Kylie Rodney's memorial service. So that might not be such a big deal all by itself, correct? But there's a lot of big deals going on here. So first, let me give a shout out to CNY. CNY has been doing her homework, and she's been tipping us off to a lot of information. Also, Squirrels on Fire and True Crime Rhymes with T-Rev, True Crimes and Rhymes. He just changed his name, I think, in the last day or two. So, let me start out with a little humor because this stuff is so freaking gross. Hey, you guys, thanks for saying hello and thanks for being here. Okay, this is my joke. When there's police corruption, and this is nothing new, it happens all over the country, I'm sure all over the world. My joke is that the police will say the person tripped and fell and overreacted and died, and it was obviously a natural accidental suicide. Okay? Ha 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 ha. Funny, not funny. Um, that's basically what is going to go down probably on the death certificate for what happened to Trinity Bacchus. Um, Another channel that I was trying to get caught up on was, I think it's allegedly with Brittany, allegedly innocent with Brittany. Um, I'll have to double check, but she was doing some recaps of Trinity's biological father. It's really hard to keep up with this stuff, you guys. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you my Cliff Notes version, all right? I'm just going to go. I've got 3 pages of notes, and I feel like I just am hitting the tip of the iceberg. So, my mod, she's on it. So, let's see where to just jump in. Just the manipulative tactics of these gaslighters. We use the term gaslighting. It's also just sheer manipulation. And it's very typical for the manipulators to be male and for the victims of the manipulation of the gaslighters to be female. As females, we are kind of socialized to not want to hurt people's feelings, to not want to embarrass people, and the master manipulators love that. So they will play on that, play on the weakness of, if you call that a weakness, I mean, I call that a nice a nice aspect of somebody's character, that they don't want to embarrass people and that they want to be polite. But that can definitely be abused. And for instance, serial killers usually play on exactly that. Exactly that. So don't be fooled, people. I was speaking about the diatrone earlier, the thing that I said was like a bacteria in the lungs or in the body. I did Google it. For those of you that aren't following, I'll try to fill you in since I'm just like jumping around. The diatrom, Diatrom, I think is how it's spelled. It's a photosynthesizing algae. So it's found in all water. So if a person's drowned, you're going to find diatroms in their stomach fluid, in the lungs. Any place where there's water, there's going to be diatroms. So if you don't find diatroms, you didn't have water. So that is relevant because apparently, allegedly, in Kylie's um, autopsy, there's no diatrums. So that's a big deal. It's also a big deal, in my opinion, and I've said this all along, but I want to reiterate that for law enforcement to take 2 months to determine cause of death with Miss Kylie Rodney was ridiculous. It was absolutely outlandish. A preliminary ruling is what is usually put out to the public early on. So so you have an idea. They still won't say that it's a done deal until all of their labs have come in and they've finished their report and all that. But it's quite the norm to have a preliminary ruling, right? I just want to hit that home. So, these people are just soul-sucking jerks. It looks like there's a lot of trouble with drugs, obviously. There's a lot of trouble with sex and feeding sex habits and feeding drug habits in Nevada County and Placer County, especially. Anybody who hasn't looked up the map of Nevada County, I just had my mind blown when I looked it up because I didn't realize that it basically is north of Interstate 80, going all the way from the California border. So downtown Truckee is Nevada County, and all the way over almost to Auburn, but nothing on Interstate 80. So all of Interstate 80 falls into Placer County. And we know, it's a fact, it's not speculation, that the interstates are used for trafficking, human trafficking as well as drug trafficking. So that's all going to be in Placer County. All that activity is in Placer County. So Nevada County is where this is big. It's where the Tahoe National Forest, yeah, Tahoe National Forest is all in Nevada County. Whose parents work with government contracts with national parks and recreation? What was that you said? Sammy Smith? Yeah, you're right. This is terrible. I mean, I laugh because it's just mind boggling. Oh, and my mod says no R in diatom. Thank you, mod. Isn't she awesome? So those of you who know what a diatom is, you're like, you dummy. There's no R in it. I do that. I totally have dyslexia and I totally put letters where they don't belong. So, and probably with my glasses, I thought that there was an R and an N at the end instead of the M when I first saw it yesterday. Anyway, so diatome. See? My brain, once my wires are crossed, they're crossed. So the diatome. Got it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Maud. Yeah, and if I don't laugh, I might cry. This stuff is disgusting. Okay. So let me just go over it again for anybody who's just tuning in, and just because I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around it. Um, Francis Fowler is the boyfriend of Trinity Backus, who just died a few days ago. Francis Fowler's has a he's 17. He's not 18. I believe he's 17. He had a girlfriend named Paisley McConan. That's the first part of her last name. It's like a double last name. Paisley was 15 when she was dating Fowler last year. So she was 15, he was 16. They were on Molly's and riding their skateboards at 4:30 in the morning on November 30th. He allegedly said that he was going to go home, so he parted ways with her. And then she was hit by a car driven by an 18-year-old who did a hit and skip. Paisley died. This is the story. To me, it sounds shady. It sounds shifty, especially because Paisley died. This 18-year-old did a hit and skip, allegedly turned herself in later that day. Long story short, she pled no contest, wore an ankle bracelet, and was on probation for a while. That's fucked up. That's not how it goes, okay? Obviously, there's a huge fucking problem. So, who knows what all these problems are? But Paisley, she doesn't know, or maybe she did. Anyway, she's dead. She died a year ago. She's a doppelganger for Trinity Backus. Trinity Backus died last week. You know me, I want to stay focused on Kylie Rodney. But Trinity Backus's biological father, who goes by Brandon Scott and lives a couple states away, came into the YouTube land the day before yesterday via CCTV. And then I guess he was on a panel discussion yesterday. Trinity's biological mother says that Brendan Scott is a child molester. That's what she alleges. He, on his own account, hadn't talked to Trinity in maybe 8 months. It sounds like his ex wife is much closer with Trinity than he ever was. And then this is part of his story that really had me scratching his head. He said that people were trying to call him all day the day that she went missing, and that he didn't hear his phone going off because he works heavy machinery and he was at work. But then later, at the end of the conversation, he said that he was between jobs. Kiki Rose says the weirdest part is CCTV covered this story like 2 weeks ago and showed pictures of the vehicle and everything. Like, what are the chances? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Kiki Rose. Like, what the fuck, people? So Kiki Rose is saying that CCTV just covered Paisley McConum's horrible fate from a year ago, because it happened on October 30th. So it's almost a year anniversary, like a year and 10 days, that then this tragedy happens with this 17-year-old's other girlfriend. Like, how do we know he's not a serial killer in the making? I'm entitled to ask a question, and I would like an answer. So if anybody knows anything, this kid, Francis Fowler, is the one who went onto CCTV yesterday to proclaim that he's not a drug dealer. All right. The biological father, not biological father, Brandon Scott, says that he is a drug dealer. And so does Kevin Neese. Anyway, my head is swimming. I bet Sammy and Kylie friendly fought, and Kylie would have been chosen to be hazed by being a participate to be one of the seniors to be driven into the lake, but didn't succeed at getting out. Interesting. Look at the pics of him and his friends. Oh no, CNY, can you just tell me? I haven't looked at any pictures of him yet at the drug house. Are there people in those pictures that we would recognize? She did. I saw it. The vehicle was severely damaged according to the pictures shared by the 18-year-old. She got 500 hours of community service, right? And she wore an ankle bracelet, and that's it. The likelihood of him not taking drugs when everyone around him does is so slim. Go back to CNY question. I will go back to CNY's question. I don't know if it's, I see the part about the sex, the drugs, and the lack of parenting. Yes. CNY family says Paisley. And I don't see the question, but look at the pics of him and his friends. Okay. Let's do this. Kylie, we're here, girl. Yeah. And how crazy. You know, one of the reasons I didn't want to get caught up in Trinity's drama was because I thought that it might just be a drama, like a ploy, like that she wasn't really missing, and that um, the powers that be, the catfish crew, were trying to get the attention off of the Kylie case. And maybe they were. Maybe they tried even harder by actually ending her life too. So we can go, oh, look, another 16-year-old that needs our attention, right? The last name of Paisley. Okay. Yeah, if you want to put that up again. There's too much information, folks. I can't fucking deal. God, I just don't even care about, I don't care about this. I don't care about offending anybody, okay? I'm just going to call it like I see it. It sounds like Trinity's biological mother has and had a lot of boyfriends. It sounds like she's still shagging with her ex-husband, the deputy of Nevada County, deputy sheriff. It sounds to me like Ashley, her best friend, her who she calls her aunt of Trinity, it sounds to me like she might be a call girl. It sounds to me like she might have been out on a date. And I'll tell you why. Because she told Brandon that she came home at 10:30. She told Brandon Scott that she, the next day after he came to town, that she came home from dinner at 10:30, and that Trinity and the friend were watching a movie and making popcorn, and she went to bed, and then she went to tell Trinity that it was bedtime. All this is 10:30, 10:30, 10:30, and then, you know, Trinity ran out of the house. We know the rest of it. Um Allegedly, Ashley says she went to dinner with her boyfriend. Apparently, her and her boyfriend are broken up. Apparently, there's a handful of adults that live in this house. It's not just Ashley. It's maybe 4 adults that live in this house. I think it's, is that the $400,000 house? Somebody was looking it up. You know, all of us freaking cyber sleuths. Coincidences are just clues not solved at the time they appear. I like that. I don't like how Ashley kept bringing up Logan later on, but trigger it in my head. There's something up with that. Logan, is that her ex-boyfriend? Um, you know, I'm really looking back at the Nevada County Sheriff, Shannon Moon. I'm looking back at Placer County Sheriff, Wayne Wu. I'm looking at the deputy, what the hell's his name? The guy who's the ex stepdad of Trinity that's still allegedly sleeping with her mother. I can't even keep up. Cover ups cause confusion, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe like an Operation House. Good one. Good one. Mrs. G says $400,000. Ha, prove it in California. That's what I thought, Mrs. G, because yeah, every house is like $1 million in California. But maybe nobody wants to live anywhere near Nevada City because of all this ridiculous crap. I mean, even this deadbeat dad, Brandon Scott, says that he was raised there and he moved away 10 years ago because it was so corrupt and twisted. All right. So it's not new, right? It's not new. Stanio. Thanks, Maud. Yeah, my mind is really swimming. Let me try to run down my notes. Like I said, I wanted to continue to observe other content creators and all the good information that they're putting out there and educate myself more so that I wouldn't be so confused. And at the same time, I just wanted to come on and say hello to my people because I told you that I would, and I like to follow through on what I say. I saw something that said the aunt is only 23. The aunt and another woman were arrested for assaulting another girl trying to take her cell phone. Right, Rhiannon, am I saying that right? I know a lot about that from being part of Squirrels on Fire's live from Sunday morning. So she started it on Saturday night and it went till Sunday morning. And even though it's 12 hours, I would highly recommend trying to watch that and watch it on double speed if you need to, so that you can try to get through it in 6 hours. And I recommend exercising and folding your laundry and a bunch of other stuff. Do some yoga while you're listening to it because that's a long time. So yeah, you have to live your life while you're listening to these things. And at the same time, you want to listen to them in the background, but you want to pay attention, right? So I find it helpful to have my notebook around so that I can keep track of my thoughts and reactions to these things. So one of the things Brandon Scott said that cracked me up is he said he just kept going on and on about how, none of the people are the problem. Ashley's not the problem. The boyfriend's not the problem. The drugs are the problem. None of the people are bad. It's just that the drugs are bad. That was Brandon Scott's theme. And he said that in Nevada County, all the kids have is drugs and they need something else. And if they had a community center, that would solve the problem. And I just kind of laughed because I'm thinking, well, they have a community center in Truckee, and Truckee's just as bad, if not worse. And the community center in Truckee is owned by the Hambrick family. That doesn't seem like a safe place to me to have your kids hang out and do kid things. That seems like a really bad idea, whether Sammy's around or not. But I have a question. I have a big fat question is why did the cadaver dogs not smell Trinity if she's just over there in the bramble? She was less than half a mile from the aunt's house under a bunch of bramble. And like I said, she had a contusion on her head. They're really trying to sell this idea that she tripped and fell and overreacted and died. And then she must have rolled a whole bunch to get way, way, way under the bramble. It's outlandish. These are children losing their lives. Are these children, Trinity and Kylie, are they being forced into this crap that they don't want to be a part of? And they're coming into their own and they're saying, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Is that what's going on here? Because it sure looks like that might be a possibility, in my humble opinion. It's so disgusting. So, one of the things that this Brandon guy, who, father, how do you define father? Okay. He said that the law enforcement never showed him, I believe his words were us, that they were never shown exactly where she was found. And I found that so disturbing. Of course, you want to see exactly where your loved one was found. You want to know every nook and cranny, every rock, every tree, every crevice. What? You didn't demand to look at the spot where she was found? That's fucking crazy. That's about as fucking crazy as not IDing your child's body during the autopsy, or before, during, or after, at some point. So out of control. So back to Ashley, the aunt, who says that Trinity had been asking if she could have a sleepover at her house, and Ashley said sure, and then she goes out for dinner and doesn't come back till 10:30 when she's got a couple of 16-year-olds at her house. that she lives at with other adults. I don't know if these other adults are males or females or both. Those kids have plenty to do there. It's the parents not watching the kids. And if you don't watch them, then the drugs will just follow to the activities. Yeah. The dogs couldn't catch her scent past the front gate, and she wasn't caught on any neighbors' cameras outside. Thank you, Heather. That was another issue that I had, was the way the biological father was describing Ashley, telling him the story about when Trinity went outside, and then the boyfriend, I'm thinking the John, came back inside to get his shoes and go chase her, and then said that she got out of the gate like she's a dog, or like there's a gate to keep people from getting out. Dang. Hey, Crime Crocheter, my hyper focus. This is such a sad, sad state of affairs. And hopefully we'll be shedding some light in there to bust up this ring. It sounds like a drug ring. It sounds like a human trafficking ring. It sounds like law enforcement is at the heart of it. It sounds like. And again, that's nothing new. It's not like that kind of thing hasn't happened before. All right. Okay. So, also interesting, worst dad nominee says, Brandon, he says that Trinity has a car. Isn't that weird? So she has a car. Was the car at the not aunt's house when she ran away in her socks because she wanted to get away from the radiation? None of this crap adds up. So her mother took down social media over the weekend, I gather. I haven't gone to check because, quite frankly, I don't care. But it was a good place to do some sleuthing. And that's what Squirrels on Fire was doing over the weekend. So I was doing some sleuthing on my own, and then I was also joining in with Squirrels. And let's see. John Backus. Okay. Backus is the mother's maiden name. She has 3 brothers. John Backus, I believe, is the one that's in the photo that I used for one of my thumbnails, where Trinity's in her bikini and this man and her are just like, he's just like way too handsy with her. I think that that's an uncle. I think that that's mom's brother, John Backus. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to see a man that age with his hands on a girl Trinity's age, especially as a niece and an uncle. It's even grosser, in my humble opinion. So this Brandon has a sister who's friends with Ashley. Are you guys following? Because I'm not. Brandon's the father, Ashley's the fake aunt. His sister told him that she was in Ashley's company on the phone with him and informed him that Ashley was wearing the bathrobe that Ashley had claimed that Trinity was wearing when she ran out of the house. So that was an interesting piece of information. So back to Sunshine Fowler being at Kylie's memorial service. So she's a clergy in this funky religious cult that sounds like it encompasses Druidism, but I want to be very clear. I don't believe that Druidism is any funky cult. I think that that's a decent thing on its own. I think these people are taking it to an indecent level. So Sunshine Fowler is a clergy in this cult, and I